Now, again, Rowan, this idea that this is what we should have always done. And then what about that chief medical officer dangling stage 5 but wouldn't tell us what stage 5 is because it's too scary to talk about? What?
Yeah, what a joke. Victoria has done pretty much everything wrong right from the get-go, as you brilliantly outlined in your opening, and I love the fact that you actually managed to find the figures of where this bloody virus is in Victoria, because the Victorian public deserve to know that, but they won't find that out from the clowns that are running the show there. History's going to look back on this, and it's going to look back and be a very harsh judge of what occurred. The likelihood, we don't know, but the facts will become apparent. They're already becoming apparent around the world. For instance, Sweden, this process of eliminating the virus, you'll remember, Paul, right back in March we had on Outsiders, we had a Swedish epidemiologist, one of the senior guys there, who said you cannot ever eliminate a virus. Mankind's never done it. We've never done it yet. Sorry, with some things like smallpox, we've done it temporarily or for a time. But basically you cannot eliminate a coronavirus. Therefore, what we're doing is trying to slow down the exponential growth. That was always the only game in town. There is no other game in town. We succeeded through the brilliant strategy of closing our borders, which Trump also did, to China in particular, despite the Chinese freaking out about it. And that was the single biggest thing we've done. Studies around the world show that lockdowns don't actually make any difference. Now, the sad reality for the people of Victoria, and I hope Gladys Berejiklian never goes down this route, but the sad reality, Paul, is that it may all be for no purpose at all, that the economy will be destroyed, but the virus will carry on with its slow march through, because there may not be a vaccine and the virus doesn't care. It's just going to keep on marching as viruses do, and we might have destroyed the economy of Australia, certainly destroyed the livelihoods of many, many people in Victoria, and we will find out in a year or two whether it was the right strategy or a really idiotic strategy. Already in Sweden, people have stopped dying. They've hit 5,000 deaths. Now, we're double the size of Sweden. We will know, if we ever get to 10,000 deaths, which we may well, that we could have done it all without destroying the economy.
Yeah, I mean, Jenna, again, this concept that elimination is the only way to go, it is impossible to do that when there is no vaccine, when there is no treatment. So, again, when tonight hundreds of thousands of people are very close to or have lost their job, that long list of stuff where literally we're talking about you can't have the cleaner around anymore. You can't have the person who runs the lawn mowing business. Now, those people are done for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's really terrifying, and I think that's the terrifying is the word that I have to use around all of that language that the Victorian government have been using over the past couple of days. Just watching Premier Andrews' press conference yesterday, which went for 90 minutes, and sure, he didn't bat away any type of question. He tried to answer everything as well as he could, but just using words like state of disaster instead of state of emergency, and basically calling out any Victorians that didn't, play a role and basically cause this virus to spread even further around the metropolitan area is really damaging when you're trying to get everyone as a collective community to come together and try and eradicate this, which is, I think, is why you're seeing so much hand-wringing going on with this. And the fact that I think that today when we saw the Chief Medical Officer dangling, like you said, stage 5, but not wanting to elaborate on what that is, if you're making people very scared, and they're scared for their health and their safety, and then they're also scared for the fact that they don't even know when their next paycheck is going to come from, you deserve all the criticism that you get. So I think the way that they need to change the narrative to make it more supportive and cohesive, as opposed to it's dangerous and you need to stay home otherwise you will die, is definitely something they need to look at.
Richo, what about that city-bush divide? 45 local government areas tonight have fewer than 20 cases, and what, about a dozen have none? Yet they are all in the same restrictions as if it's Melbourne. Surely the advice to the Victorian government has to be 2 weeks from now. If Mildura has never had the virus and still doesn't have the virus in 2 weeks' time, it shouldn't be held to Melbourne's standard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think there might be a case for even doing it before 2 weeks. I think Andrews has got this wrong. I mean, I think he's been a terrific premier. It's just the last 2 weeks haven't been his finest hours. And I don't think that what he's announced is going to work. I think we ought to be changing it already. There's no point in waiting 5 days for something to fail that you know is going to fail anyway.
Well, and that's it. But again, that dangling of stage 5, but I won't tell you what it is. And it was multiple questions today that we're asking about it. I hope there's multiple questions about it again tomorrow. And this is the thing. And you know, it's one thing to stand there for 90 minutes and say lots of words, but did you actually answer the question? I mean, they're very expert at this. I understand the art of it, but accountability is going to matter in all of this.